Morning, everyone. I'm Tracy Russ. It's my joy to be a part of the team here at Foundation for the Carolinas. My focus is in the area of civic leadership, and I work very closely here in a team that also includes our regional leaders at the foundation here and a fantastic team. And I want to recognize, Rhonda and David, who many of you are familiar with. And let me stop and say, Rhonda, David, do you guys want to say anything by way of intro or good morning?
Good morning. This is Rhonda Dean. I am the Vice President over Board Management. So I manage nine of our 13 grant-making boards in our region. So
Thank you. David?
I will say good morning as well, and thrilled to be on this call and have this opportunity coming up for everyone. I work in Rowan County and Davidson County, and also Richmond counties.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I also want to recognize Ismael Salgado on my team here with Civic Leadership, who you will see more of as we're working together in the future. And we've got some other foundation team members on. In the interest of time, I won't try to introduce everyone, but I did want to let you know that here at the foundation, we are committed to making Foundation for the Carolinas mean something good and impactful for all of us. And at the scale of our region's growth and the challenges and opportunities that we all face, it's incumbent upon all of us to work together, to collaborate. And we view our role as being the steward of possibilities. And we think that what we'll talk about this morning can help our region and your communities grow, and specifically the organizations in your communities grow and help face some of the challenges that we see present and ahead. I also want to recognize my partner here in Mecklenburg County, Melissa Hovey with Share Charlotte. Melissa, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, no, thank you, Tracy, and thank you to the foundation for this opportunity. For many of the partners on this phone, you are our Share Charlotte partners. Here in Mecklenburg County, we partner with over 850 nonprofits on the Share Charlotte platform, and is really excited to have this conversation come to light, and really and deeply appreciate the partnership with the foundation for making this possible. So excited to be here.
Thank you. And this is made possible by our generous donors here at the Foundation for the Carolinas across the region. So we're so happy to be able to facilitate the opportunity. And this is a great segue for me to turn it over to Marjorie with Share Good and tell you more about the opportunity ahead. And we'll go from there based on your interests and responses. So Marjorie, take us away.
Wonderful. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, hold on. I didn't do the audio. One second here. Because, all right. Sorry about that little hiccup, guys. Good morning. How is everyone?
Right.
Let's see here. I'm trying to see your faces. Because I can't see your faces. One second here. I do know how to do Zoom. We've been doing this for quite some time. All right. Well, with that being said, as long as you guys can see the screens, can I get a yes or a no? I can't see your faces.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much. I just want to introduce myself. So Share Good is the national hub and technology partner for organizations and cities that use our software like Share Charlotte. And we are so grateful that there is interest in a regional approach within the Foundation for the Carolinas to see that every nonprofit, every county, every affiliate region has the ability to voice if this could be a solution that would work for the entire footprint of the Foundation for the Carolinas. I got involved with Share in 2018. I was the first executive director of Share Omaha, which is the second city in the network. I'll get to that in a little bit here. And we were able to acquire, after a transition, the intellectual property of Share Goods Technology. And we said it makes no sense that Omaha's running everything. So we broke off the national to its own nonprofit. So we're a nonprofit technology partner, and we have a hub and spoke system. So Charlotte is one of those spokes, and each community has a voice in how our technology grows, shapes the roadmap, things of that nature, and we are growing. So with that in mind, I'm going to launch this presentation. So you'll hear me say the word local quite a bit on this call. So we are a national platform, but we are unique in the fact that we bring this to life at the local level with local leaders. Local leader in this case for the region would be the Foundation for the Carolinas, but it comes to life because of all of you. I really wish I could see your faces. Let me just see here real quick. Do you guys mind if I stop sharing for just a second?
Go
Sure.
for it.
Okay, because this is
Technology knows when you're in a rush, and
yeah, it does. It does. It knows when it's really important, and that's when it's going to stop working because I can't see the chat or anything. Let's see here. Sharing screen. Okay. And I don't want my face. All right. Well, I don't know if that's going to work. So I am just going to keep going. And I'm pretty expressive. So I hope you guys like seeing my face. So here we go. I hope you guys can see my face. So here we go. We are, like I said, the technology and engagement nonprofit partner for communities, foundations, and nonprofit organizations who want to increase their philanthropic and service involvement. We want to make it easier for people to get involved. We want to make it easier for nonprofits to be able to raise their hands for exactly what it is they need for more people to do good together. We believe that this creates long-lasting relationships. We believe it creates trust in communities. We believe that it addresses the epidemic of loneliness and lack of connection, that it can bridge divides, that people getting involved in their communities is an answer for a lot of the turmoil in our country. So our mission at the base of that is to democratize the systems of philanthropy and service. And so I am so grateful to have partners like Share Charlotte that bring this to life. So where it all started, Melissa's getting a lot of shout outs. So this is the mission that they bring to life in Charlotte, to build a better Charlotte, empowering nonprofits. They do an excellent job of that, and helping people invest in their communities in ways that matter most to them. That underscores that democratized process and what matters most to them. We work really hard at Share to make sure that it is easy to figure out who is addressing what you're most passionate about. And then you get to that, you, the neighbor, if you were a neighbor in this case and not a nonprofit, you would be able to say, I have more time than money, more money than time. I want to attend an event, or I want to buy something practical and know exactly where my dollar's going. We know that people have different abilities and capacity at different times of their life, and we want to have a bigger front door to people to getting involved. And so with all that being said, it is our honor to see that Share Charlotte, who's not only the first, they're our flagship. They test out a lot of things with their innovative approach, and the rest of the country really takes notice. Like Melissa said, over 850 local nonprofits are served throughout Mecklenburg County. They've inspired over $68 million in giving back over the past 12 years. Like, I don't know if you guys can do a reaction. That's pretty awesome. Last year, they had a record-breaking 213,000 visitors to ShareCharlotte.org, and that is unique visitors, not just traffic. And then championing nonprofit capacity building. Share Charlotte has doubled down on making connections for nonprofits through their Share a Latte program, through their summit events. I'm sure many of you have been to the summit. And then what they do to create connections between corporate sector and the nonprofit sector, and also lift up the professional development of what nonprofit leaders need to be even more successful. In particular, I've really been intrigued by their agility series lately regarding all the changes in the federal government, and grant making and funding streams and legs to your stool, of fundraising, all those things that make an organization function at capacity. And I will tell you that it is just phenomenal to watch. And the rest of our network, what we call the Share family, is watching as well. So, Melissa, is there anything else you want to say?
Oh, well, thank you so much. And again, all because of the great partners and nonprofits that we have in our partner network. And I would say a lot of the innovation and ways we've been able to accelerate that is in direct precipitation and partnership with the Foundation for the Carolinas. Starting in 2025, we were able to co-host our annual nonprofit summit. We're doing it again in May of this year. The Agility Together series was a partnership between us, the foundation, and the United Way and the Lee Institute, to respond to business challenges happening in our sector. So I think that type of, while we're really proud of the work we're doing here, I think it could not have been possible to accelerate all that we have been able to accomplish without a thoughtful partnership with the foundation.
Thank you, Melissa.
Absolutely.
And just so you guys know, I was able to figure out how to see you guys on the screen. So now I can see your lovely faces. I'm really excited. So Melissa, thank you for taking a second so I
Yeah.
could figure it out. That's great. So with that, the next screen is shows the outgrowth of our communities. Charlotte was the first, Omaha was the second, Detroit came on next, and then we have you can see here then not just metropolitan areas. We do have a densely populated region in the Middlesex County of New Jersey, but the rest are mid to small size markets. And that right there, I thought when we took over the ownership of Share Good that I had a limited list. I had a ceiling of metropolitan areas that were going to be able to be share communities. I no longer think that. I'm going to go through and show a case study of a community that is not a big metropolitan region. It is more intimately populated and less densely populated and spread out, and how it works there. So I'm excited to share that with you. But also, if you're wondering what Cenla is, it's in central Louisiana. So that's also a dissipated region. So it's about, I think it's like 14 counties in central Louisiana, or they call them parishes in central Louisiana. So with the hub city being Alexandria. So just so you know, people see Cenla, they're like, "What's that? I don't know what that is." So there you go. That's our newest live community. We just signed our 9th, and I have to be a little bit mum on who they are right now, but we have lots in the pipeline, and so it's a very exciting time for Share Good. I wanted on this screen right here, if you guys could give a thumbs up if these challenge points resonate with you, I think it might show what's happening in the sector with us. So we know that communities are facing, like it says here, critical challenges. How many of your nonprofits maybe have you experienced or seen or know of people that have lost their jobs in the nonprofit sector? Thumbs up. Yeah. It's hard. And it just says in 2025, and I believe that number could be higher depending upon other places, how you define the nonprofit sector. So it's a challenging time for employment. And we know that it's like 1 in every 10 jobs is from the nonprofit sector in the country. So that's frightening. Creating critical gaps. Where are you seeing, are you guys seeing contraction regarding your missions and critical needs? Any thumbs up? Yep, seeing some thumbs. Yes, absolutely. And I put art services on there. I come from an arts background, and I feel like there's such a crisis regarding human services and basic needs, but there's also this breadth of the nonprofit sector, like public broadcasting and the National Endowment for the Arts and all those grants and all those different streams that prop up different parts of the non-sector are feeling it tighter now. So just it's not just human services that are feeling it. It's animals, environment, education, veterans, etc. Disconnection. Are you finding, or maybe you've just found in your role as a nonprofit leader, nonprofits struggle to be seen and supported? We see that. We see that nonprofits typically are supported by concentric circles of support. The people that are closest to them, those people spread the word to those who they know. This kind of happens with board service, and it comes out from there. But it's very hard to attract new attention. And so we know that in this time, with grants and foundation support and corporate funding being different than it has been, that attracting these new supporters is even more important. Individual fundraising is going to be the delta. And then impact. Are we seeing that there is just a sense of that faded hope amongst your clientele, amongst your stakeholders? That's hard. That's the hardest part, I think, is that we're hearing all this bad news and we don't know how we're supposed to rise to the occasion. And I will tell you that the challenge isn't a lack of generosity, it's a lack of connection. So we believe that when people feel like they are connected to each other and connected to solutions and connected to problem solving, that level of empowerment and joy and hope are inherently following. And so there's a quick story. I'm sure many of you probably were still working in the nonprofit sector during the pandemic. We took a pulse in Omaha regarding all the nonprofit jobs that had been jobs, programs, services, funding streams that were on pause or taking a hit. And it was pretty much the most depressing page I think I've ever read in the nonprofit sector, hearing how my community was really suffering. And we had ways for people to go back to their profiles and take advantage of how they could help. But it was leading with that lack of hope, right? It was leading with the challenge. And we had a news station call us and they said, that's well and good. We're telling those stories. How do we still help? What can I still do? And that was the light bulb moment for us. We said, Share is not here to tell the sad stories. Share is not here to ignore that they're happening, but we're here to invite people into solving a problem. We're here to invite people into empowering them that there's something they can do for their community and that they are not without hope. And so we try to do that with an abundant mindset, abundance, as opposed to that there's not enough to go around. There's only one pie and I'm not going to get my slice of it. We always say we just make more pies. So that right there, I think, is one of the main value sets that we have. So the solution to this that we offer is a software as a service platform. Share Good, the platform drives engagement, like it says, year round. So rather than a giving day for one day of the year or a week of the year, rather than being simply a volunteer hub where people that want to volunteer find shifts, or being an event calendar that maybe a media outlet runs, or being hidden wish lists that nonprofits are trying to publicize. We bring all of those pathways to involvement into one place. And we're working harder. The tech gets better all the time. We work really hard to make sure that we are creating the best conversion environment. Conversion meaning there's a visitor that wants to get involved that makes a donation. There's a visitor that wants to get involved that becomes a volunteer. We want to make that process as efficient as possible. And like I said, we are a big front door. We are not the destination online. The destination is you. The destination is the nonprofit. We're here to introduce people to you and create an amazing hub for people to see what's happening in their communities. But in the end, it's about sparking a relationship with a nonprofit that somebody's super passionate about. And so these are all the pathways for that to happen. Next, there's just a way we approach this. So there, and believe me, I have friends that do national strategies. Like we're friends and connected to the people at Idealist Volunteer Match. That is a national platform that takes it posts from large nonprofits that have big SEO, and they also have, you can post things there, but it's a national approach that can be boiled down to a local zip code. That is not our approach. We want a local manager helping curate what is really what's fundable, meaning that it has like a stamp of approval that's been cleared by somebody, that the volunteering is updated regularly, that it's a living, breathing website that speaks to a specific region. We believe that our interface is pretty user friendly and intuitive. We all I try to prove this wrong, but really you can figure out what you're doing in 5 clicks or less. And that's like what our path tells us. People find and fund nonprofits, they find what they want to do, and within 3 clicks after that, they are on their way to making a donation or on their way to voicing interest in a volunteer opportunity. And then flexibility by design. Each of our communities really flexes this technology differently. I think, Melissa, I'm seeing your head kind of like going, yeah. So Charlotte doubles down on volunteerism. You just saw the Year of the Volunteer if you were to go to their website, and the Do Good campaign that just happened last week. Their volunteer numbers go up every year. They went up 40% last year. It was huge. That is not every community's top priority. In some communities, that priority is really getting more cash donations in the hands of nonprofits. So they do Giving Tuesday, but they do all the processing within their own website, and they have helped us give unique donation tiers. Like you get to say what $20 does, or you can say I need $500, or I have a goal to reach $5,000, and be able to track all that and have a recent donor wall and all the things. So there are many ways that if that's the priority of the community, we're going to give them the tools to make sure that that priority happens. And then just the fact that we are holistic in general is really different than the other partners in the partners in the market. The fact that it is run locally, has all these different pathways, and is flexible it's some of it might be nuanced, but it definitely makes us feel different. And then the family of the network that supports each other, that's very unique throughout the marketplace as well. So I want to share with you just a little bit about what we're thinking about for the region, and then give you that case study of something that shows that we know how to do this. So Foundation for the Carolinas is proposing a share platform experience to its participating affiliate county foundations and nonprofits. So that would be in addition to Share Charlotte with their existing agreement. So Share Charlotte is not going away. Share Charlotte will stay with its sticky brand that has real estate in people's minds. But for the rest of the region, it would be Share Carolinas. And I'll show you how that works from a geography perspective in just a second. So and there's ways that we can expedite the onboarding of existing grantees in the Foundation for the Carolina system to make your onboarding even slicker. There's ways we can do that. But what I love is that there's a precedent for this. When we were approached about this idea, I was very bolstered that we've already done a regional approach in another market. So I'm going to show you what that is. So if you were to go to shareiowa.org, sharegoodiowa.org, both of those websites both of those URLs go to the same place. So they serve a 9-county region. I know that there's a little more, there's about a dozen in the Foundation for the Carolinas footprint, but 9 counties, about same geography, size. We named that Share Iowa or sharegoodiowa.org with a possible statewide strategy in our minds that we wanted to plan for the future. And so we organized the architecture and the data to be able to be expanded, as opposed to just being Council Bluffs, Iowa, which is their biggest city in that region. So their goal, and is similar to the Foundation for the Carolinas, is to demystify and build a culture of philanthropy. demystify the foundation, demystify giving to nonprofits, demystify how having to get involved. We want those barriers to be as low as possible so anybody feels welcome to the party. The table gets more populated. And then we had, I know Tracy has an idea regarding how this will be staffed, but the winning combination for us there was that the Community Foundation for Western Iowa had a really strong marketing department already. And so getting assets out and working with social media, all of that was really tied to the strategy of the larger foundation. And then they were able to staff a coordinator that beats the drum with the nonprofits, goes on the road show, brings the introduction to the platform to all the different communities throughout the region, communities, counties, Rotary luncheons, Kiwanis luncheons. I mean, they're city council meetings. I mean, just making sure that everybody feels welcome. And then Iowa is a neighbor of shareomaha.org. So Southwest Iowa, I don't know which way the map is looking, but Omaha's right here on the eastern edge of Nebraska, and Southwest Iowa is right here. And their regions, at one point, Omaha had 3 of the counties in Southwest Iowa as part of their region. Well, when Southwest Iowa went away, when Southwest Iowa took off, they took over those 3 regions. And so we wanted to make sure that all the data was syncing. And there will be some amount of sync between Mecklenburg County because there's nonprofits in that county that serve the rest of the state, that serve the rest of the region. And so we've worked to do profile sync so people get to enter their information once in one place. So, oh, hold on. I just want to show you guys something. So I'm going to go here. Can you guys see Share Iowa? Good. It's working, guys. It's working. So if you were to go here and you went to find nonprofits, I always love it when this shows up because it means we're fighting the bots. They're not going to get us, guys. They're not. Verify that I'm human. Yes, I am. Thank you very much. Now I get to go where I want to go. So in Iowa, they guide people to this geographic search. So Pottawatomie County is the most densely populated county. Then there's Mills, Harrison, Cass, Page, etc. And the major communities within those counties have certain callouts. We're also looking at geofencing, which is like entering a zip code and going out from there. But people also really just want to see what's happening in their backyard. They want to see what's happening in their city and their neighborhood. So if you were to go to sharecharlotte.org, it'd be more by neighborhood than it is by community within counties. And so this is how your community, your county gets prominence. And you'll see that there's the total number of nonprofits served up here, 281. But some of these nonprofits, what's beautiful is that they can click and say, I serve in Trainer, I serve in Silver City, I serve in Cumberland. And so they can show up in all those multiple searches, which is beautiful. So if you serve the whole region, you have the ability to click where you serve and not just be tied to where your office is located. So I'm going to go back. It did it, guys. Went back to full screen. I'm winning. Okay. So I wanted to give you guys some high level numbers. We're getting to the point, getting closer to the point where we get to ask questions and have more of an interactive conversation. But I wanted to share with you some great numbers. So at the end of 2025, we see that our total impact across all of our pillars is about 92 million since Share Charlotte began. That's huge. We know that our giving day in one of the communities in Share Omaha started at about 800K of impact, of cash impact. That day has grown to 3.7 million. We know that we were critical in Omaha and in other communities regarding natural disaster. So there was historic flooding in 2019. We had great traffic and it went up 2 times over the course of the 2 weeks where that was really emergent. And we serve 2,500 nonprofits across our network currently. That number, thanks to Share Charlotte, goes up a little bit every day. And then I'm getting to my favorite quote, my favorite stat in just a second. But 78% of people that raise their hands to volunteer have not volunteered with that nonprofit before. That's not as surprising because people don't always volunteer. They don't have like a volunteer pattern in their life. So they're usually finding something new. But the one that starred, the 49%, that's the one that gets me really excited because nearly 50% of people that make a gift through Share have never supported the nonprofit they're supporting before. And we make that process really easy. So like for Giving Tuesday or any day of the year, you can check 10 nonprofit gifts and check out once and support 10 nonprofits in just one fell swoop. It's beautiful. And we know that on days like Giving Tuesday, people are supporting brand new nonprofits, or they didn't know that this domestic violence shelter was serving this specific population. They didn't know that there was this veterans organization that worked with furniture. And so they discover these niche nonprofits and they start relationships. We're getting nonprofits new eyeballs. It's that bigger front door I talked about. Okay, so you're not going to take my word for it. I feel like I'm LeVar Burton saying that. So this is a nice testimonial quote from one of the nonprofits in Share Detroit. But I also want to just share with you a nonprofit perspective on what that the platform has given them, and then a neighbor nonprofit, somebody who comes to us from the public that sees the benefit of Share. So let's just pray this works.
Hello from the Austin Foundation. My name is Sydney Hill, President and CEO. We have been working with Share Detroit over the last 4 years, and we've been able to see so many different things, mainly because we've been able to post our different volunteer needs. So from that, we have put out a request for a website developer, a logo designer, graphic designer, and a data analyst. And from those different things, we've got a new logo, a new website, and we've been able to produce our impact reports. It's allowed for us to grow so much as an organization, and we appreciate them so much for it.
All right. I love Sydney's testimonial. And this is Wendy from Omaha.
Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, my family and I choose various organizations to donate to. When we first started doing this, it was really hard to find all the different ones in need. You just kind of had to search and hope Google would guide you. Fortunately, in one of these searches, Share's website came up. I remember thinking it was the best idea to include all of the local nonprofits in our community on one website, one place where I can see everyone's upcoming volunteer events, one place where I can see everyone's immediate needs, one place where I can donate and fulfill wish lists. I was just blown away by how simple and yet how powerful it was. And then my whole family got excited to search by their own interests and choose what's important to them. It made us feel much more connected because we got to read about all of the different organizations and just see what fit us. And now whenever I'm looking for volunteer opportunities, Share is definitely the first place I go. I know I'll see the most current needs and events. And now that my son is at an age where he needs to meet volunteer requirements, it's even easier to find things that fit his interests and his schedule. I absolutely love Share. I just truly believe it's a revolutionary way for communities to connect those in need with those who can give.
I think she's great. I'm just like, did I give you a script? Because I didn't give you a script. Like, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Wendy. And then Sydney, I just love that. She got a data analyst, a website developer. I mean, just not just people cleaning out the garden or painting the wall, skills-based volunteering, real relationships. And so when you get this deck, you'll get this deck in this recording. You can click here and you can see more testimonials down here, or you can click up here and see case studies of different communities. And we have Iowa's is the more rural one, mid-sized markets, Lynchburg, Charlotte has one on there, and then there's one for Giving Tuesday. So and how we accomplished that across our network. So I'm just going to ground us in the why before we have a little interactive portion. So we believe we're better when we're helping each other. And I told you guys about the bridging and belonging and addressing loneliness and addressing divides in our country. We believe that we can help with that. But this is not just an isolated local expression. This is a national movement. And we do this through the 4 different uniting tools of the four different uniting tools of the platform, but we do it, like I said, with joy and an abundance mindset. If we don't believe there's enough, then we can't encourage nonprofits and neighbors to think that there's more that's possible. And so, like I said, we lead with the hope and we lead with possibility. And then we make it easier to give and serve. We believe that when nonprofits raise their hands for what it is they need, and somebody says, that resonates with me and I can help, that there's a true spark that happens in the community. And I've seen it time and time again. If you were to go to shareomaha.org and you search circle moments, it's like the biggest feel good moment ever, because you get to see somebody who was searching for something, they found the thing, and now they're feeling very actualized and utilized in their community in a way that they didn't know before they had Share. It's like my favorite blog rabbit hole to go down. So one of our taglines is that we connect passion with action every day. That we're not just searching for ways to help in service. We're not just searching for ways to donate. We're connecting people with what they are most interested in addressing in the community and making it easy for them to make a difference. So that's really about us. Now we're going to take a quick pulse check. So let's cross the fingers that this works. So if you can type in this address right here, or you can scan this QR code with your phone. I invite you to do so. I'll give you a couple minutes to do so. And let me know if you get to the survey. It should work. It should say, do you think Share Carolina's platform would, sorry, I'm trying to move things out of the way. Would benefit your nonprofit's mission? Okay. I'll reveal the results when people give me like a thumbs up in there as a reaction. Okay. All right, I'm going to try it. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to try it. Oh, wow. That's a huge majority. And nobody's undecided right now. Come on, if there's anybody's undecided, you let us know, because we're here for questions. All right, I'm going to go to the next question. Let's see if this works. Do you guys see the next question that would benefit your community, your county? Okay. Tracy, we're feeling it. Okay. You guys are all very decisive. I expected more undecideds. All right. Thank you, guys. And we'll share those results with the foundation. And it's anonymous, so don't worry about any of that. Okay, so I am going to go back to the presentation. And we're here at the last slide. Thank you for that engagement. I bet some of you still have questions about how this is going to come to pass. Tracy may be able to answer those better than me, but I'm very excited to be available for any reactions or any questions that were sparked in the middle of that presentation. I'm done talking. I'll call on anybody who raises their hand. And there's that react button where you can raise your hand. Like if I can't see you do it. Doris, thank you for breaking the ice. Oh, be sure to turn your microphone on.
There you go. Thank you so much for that. Listen, I think that Share Good, it is awesome, but I wanted to know if there's a cost associated in joining.
That is an excellent question. So this is something that's provided as a free resource. And I don't think I'm speaking out of turn for Tracy. This is a free resource to nonprofits. So the license agreement that's between us and the Foundation for the Carolinas, like he said, is covered by generous donations by supporters of the foundation. So the profile itself on every share profile across the country is free at no charge. The only thing we ask is that you keep your profiles updated, that you give us ways that people can engage, and that you're an active participant. So we list those requirements, expectations at the front end. Some communities are really specific about those expectations. Others just kind of audit the website and see who's participating and who's not and encourage more participation. But really, unless there's added value or added services that are beyond the public platform, the public profile that the nonprofit has, the service is at no charge. Melissa does have a Share Shine program. She's over here on my screen. But Melissa has a Share Shine program, which is those like the corporate social responsibility intersections, the summit, the share lattes, those added value things sometimes are covered by scholarship, I think, but also are tiered in level of engagement from the nonprofit. But that is a model that is that local expression to decide. So not every community does that. And I don't exactly know how the added value will be presented in the counties, but the profiles to be able for you to raise your hand for what you need, no charge.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome. That's a great question.
And Marjorie, we do have a great question in the chat, and I believe you raised this point earlier. And the question's from Allison Grant. And it is, since nonprofits in Charlotte already have the opportunity to have a profile and list volunteer opportunities on the Share Charlotte site, can you explain how this differs? And I assume this being Share Good.
Yep, Share Good and Share Carolinas. So the way that we're thinking about that, thank you for raising that because I wasn't looking at the chat, Tracy, I appreciate that. So the way that I'm envisioning it is that I'm sure there's nonprofits that are located or serve Mecklenburg County that also serve the other affiliate counties. And so they are able, through the sync, to be able to promote those on both URLs. Like that's the goal. But we also know there's nonprofits that are located in Jackson County and that are located outside of Mecklenburg County that also serve in Mecklenburg County. I'm sure Melissa knows who those ones are. So it's the same thing. We don't, if somebody already has a profile, they will, if somebody already is identified, we say that there's responsible territory and then there's displayed territory. So if your physical office is located outside of Mecklenburg County, your home profile will probably be on Share Carolinas. But if you're serving the whole region, including Mecklenburg County, you get to be displayed everywhere. So it's not that you're isolated to one website or you have to have double profiles on both platforms. That's the benefit of working with us about being the host.
Thank you. And Marjorie, to be clear, that means you do not have to enter information twice or sort of go onto one site and enter your profile and then go onto another one. It's synced and you enter one time.
Right? Yes. And we're actually trying to make it even better because the sync itself is really the what we do section, the Stripe in the Stripe intersection, the Stripe API connection, the volunteer opportunities, the events, all those sync between the two websites. There are some features that are because of the way that like when you when a neighbor makes a donation on Share Carolinas, Melissa's team doesn't see that donation was made on Share Charlotte. So you would have you would have the ability to see your profile and your activations on both websites. And one doesn't see the donors from one site to the other. That's just better better anonymity for those donors. But we're working all the times to figure out ways to make the sync even better. So we're trying, like, we're actively fundraising right now. Like, I'm writing the grant this week to make sure that it's kind of like a single sign-on, if you've ever heard about that. So basically, you would have your responsible territory, Share Carolinas, and then if you have a different message for what you want to share in Mecklenburg County, you'd be able to manage that in one sign-on. And then you would know these are the volunteer events that I want showing up in the affiliate counties or my city or my county. And these are the activities I want to be seen in Mecklenburg County. That's what my goal, because we know we have national nonprofits that are in multiple of our communities that want to manage it in one place. Like, that's where we're headed. So we're wanting to keep it local, but also make it shareable. Stacy, you had a question.
Yes, thank you. I think you might have answered this with Doris's question, but I just want to make sure. So if we have, and I'm from the Ronald McDonald House, so if we have specifics on how to onboard, how to get volunteers onboarded, is that something that goes on? Do we specify that and it goes to you and you put it out, or is this just bringing volunteers to us? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And so currently we are a volunteer lead generator, meaning that the neighbor voices interest in volunteering at Ronald McDonald House, and whoever manages that volunteer opportunity gets a notification immediately that said neighbor is interested. And then you follow up and get them into your CRM, you follow up and get them into your system, get them booked for their shift, get them vetted for their committee or their board service, however you want to get them involved for skills-based volunteering. We want that to be with the nonprofit, so the relationship gets started immediately. Also, though, we have an integration that we're working with a national partner called Galaxy Digital. It's actually their home company is called Better Impact, and they have volunteer management systems and volunteer hubs. And we're trying really hard to figure out if something is just shift based, can we capture that person signing up on that volunteer management system, but also reflect it on Share Good? So somebody could sign up to paint the wall, work in the garden, do the kitchen service on Share Good, but you would have all that information within your volunteer management system. So that's where we're headed. But right now, the volunteer lead generation has worked for 12 years in Charlotte, so we know that that's still a viable option.
Thank you.
There was a question in the chat. How and when we'll be able to sync our Share Charlotte profiles with the new Share Carolinas profile? That is a question for Tracy. So I don't exactly know the specific timeline related to this. This is really this session today is really identifying to make sure that we're on the right track. So I appreciated that lack of decisiveness. You guys were great. Thank you. But Tracy may have a better way to talk about the timeline.
Sure. And as Marjorie relayed, we wanted to gather everyone, gauge interest. This is up to you. After all, our role is to be of support and to offer this opportunity to all of you at no cost. We'll work out the timeline for implementation based on this strong response, and we will communicate with everyone when we have that timeline. I don't know what the range of those dates may be, but I will say we're talking about an opportunity that will be available soon, in the coming months, this spring, summer. We're not talking about something next year. This is something that we think is important based on your response, and that we'll move on, and we'll be back in touch with a timeline that enables us to move as quickly as possible.
Excellent. Stacy, I want to make sure, did I answer your questions totally?
I think so. I just know we have very specific onboarding procedures that volunteers have to follow. So I'm just making sure that this is like the cup to capture those volunteers. You ship them over to us, and then we go ahead and get them in our way. Okay.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said. I like that cup to capture. like we want to make sure that you are introduced to somebody who is interested in helping you, and then you get them into the right pipeline on your side.
Great. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. And there was a question, there was a question in the chat related to, I'm already, if we're only in Mecklenburg, Charlotte, will we still be able to be on both? And Tracy answered yes. And I also wanted to say that the responsible territory would still be sharecharlotte.org. But if you have service or clients or you serve in a meaningful way the populations of the rest of the area, then yes, you are able to be on both.
Yeah.
If you are just Share Charlotte and you do not have any outside, then it wouldn't make sense for you to look for volunteers and service outside of that area. But I bet like 98% of them, would be on both.
Marjorie, can you share a little bit about how one would move forward? Let's say I'm out in the region. Yes, this sounds great. What kind of support is available when we get to the point on the timeline to go and do this and to start?
My favorite thing is going out to the community personally, like me and probably me at this point, but we also have an amazing chief operating officer, and the two of us, one of us tries to be on site for the initial onboarding, and we record it. We do an in-person so people can set up their profiles while we're in the room with them. But we also have done onboarding during the pandemic where we did it all online, and we probably would offer both of those. So and we stay on the line as long as we can, so people can drop in, drop out, get their profile started, and ask questions while they're in process. And then once you get to a point with your profile that you feel like, okay, I've entered in all the information at this juncture that I have, then you press submit, and then the lovely team at Foundation for the Carolinas would review that, make sure that you have checked the boxes that are for the requirements, and give you any feedback regarding maybe better ways to position yourself, and then away we go. And then there's a launch date. We want to get as many nonprofits in the hopper during that prep period as possible. So when it's unveiled to the public, there is a great cross section of nonprofits serving all of those areas of the nonprofit sector.
So if you've never done anything like this before, you will have support is the bottom line. Is that correct?
Yes, and the team at the foundation will help, but we also are really good that if you discover a bug or you discover something's not working, like we escalate that to our national tech team like as soon as possible. And depending upon like how much it's slowing down business, then we prioritize and triage like any software provider does, which is great. And on subsequent calls, I will show you guys really how intuitive the nonprofit interface is on the back end. Like there's tabs for each of those pathways that I talked about, and you fill out the information regarding that, and then your city and location and your what we do, and you can make that look as pretty as you want. You can put bullet points, pictures, videos, links, all types of things, and then or you can keep it really simple, totally fine too. And once you get to the end of those tabs, you press submit.
Wonderful.
Please let me know what your question is. I see it. Is it Kanoe?
Kanoe, yes. Hi. Thank you from Ronald McDonald House. You may have answered this also. I know there is like general buckets, like Stacy had mentioned, that are opportunities. Is there an opportunity to also list specific events that we have available?
Yes. So we have the donate pillar, the volunteer pillar, the wish list pillar, which is not just Amazon, but any online e-commerce website. And then the event pillar. And I'll tell you, in Lynchburg, the event pillar is like their main priority, is that the nonprofits aren't scheduling on top of each other, and that the opportunities to get involved are very clear for the community. So that pillar has become their primary thing that they keep very much updated. And so you could and we say that there's two types of events. There's fundraisers and fundraisers. There's things that are more like exposure and education of what your mission is. And then there's purely fundraising events, and you get to choose which one it is. And you can do virtual events, you can do in-person events, all the different things.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other
We're coming up on time. So, Marjorie, I'll let you close out, but I did want to say that if you have additional questions, we'll be sending out follow-up communication, and there'll be a way for you to send your questions, further inquiries in. We will share as we get up and running timeline supports and sort of step by step how this will work. And I'll close out from the foundation side just to say thank you, everyone, for the work that you do in the region every day. We know that we're all facing challenges. We're going to get through all of this together. And the reason we wanted to make this opportunity available is to make that faster and easier and more effective for all of us. This is no requirement. There is no expectation other than that you had a chance to see the opportunity. It is up to you and your organization. It is not tied to any specific funding from the foundation. I want to make that clear. This is an opportunity we're excited to offer in collaboration with the SHARE organization. You certainly have a wonderful exemplar in SHARE Charlotte.
Thank you, Tracy. And guys, thank you so much for your engagement, your attention, and attending this event. It helps confirm the thought that we had with the foundation regarding the interest in this. So thank you.
Okay. Have a great day, everyone. Great week, and we will be in touch.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye, friends.
Thank you.